The internet is currently awash with massive excitement over the leaked specifications of the upcoming Fujifilm X-T6. Creators everywhere are losing their minds over the promise of a 40-megapixel partially stacked sensor, internal 8K video recording at 30 frames per second, and a next-generation artificial intelligence autofocus tracking engine. It is incredibly easy to get swept up in the absolute euphoria of spec sheets and feel an overwhelming urge to pull out your credit card the exact second the pre-order landing page goes live. But before you pull that trigger and commit your hard-earned capital to this new flagship body, we need to have a serious, unfiltered, real-world reality check. We need to talk about the hidden tax of owning a cutting-edge data monster. A camera with these bleeding-edge technical capabilities is not just an isolated hardware purchase. It is a fundamental disruption to your entire creative pipeline. If you do not prepare your infrastructure beforehand, this camera will transition from being your dream creative tool into an absolute nightmare of processing bottlenecks, lagging timelines, and unexpected hardware expenses that could easily double the true cost of your upgrade. To truly understand the hidden infrastructure tax of the X-T6, we have to look past the beautiful exterior chassis and analyze the raw digital information this machine creates. The combination of a 40-megapixel high-resolution sensor and uncompressed internal 8K video processing means you are generating data at an unprecedented rate for an APS-C system. Let us look first at the photography side of the equation. Shooting continuous high-speed bursts on a 40-megapixel stacked sensor means every single press of the shutter button drops massive amounts of data onto your media cards. If you utilize the heavily rumored 200-megapixel pixel shift multi-shot mode for landscape or commercial studio work, a single final composited image file will easily exceed hundreds of megabytes. If your computer is a few years old, running a modest processor and limited unified memory, simply importing a batch of these ultra-high-resolution images into Adobe Lightroom or Capture One will turn your editing suite into a sluggish, frustrating waiting game. Generating previews will take minutes instead of seconds, and applying complex local adjustments or AI-driven masking tools will cause your system to stutter, lag, and potentially crash. The data bottleneck becomes exponentially more severe when we transition into the realm of internal 8K video production. Recording internal 8K video in 10-bit 422 color depth requires an astronomical bitrate to capture that level of pristine detail. We're talking about file sizes that will swallow standard storage setups alive. A single hour of continuous 8K footage can easily consume hundreds of gigabytes of space. If you're a working videographer shooting a multi-day commercial project, a wedding, or a long-form documentary, you'll be looking at terabytes of raw data per project. This means the standard external hard drives you currently use for archiving will be completely useless for live editing. Traditional spinning platter drives simply do not possess the read and write speeds required to play back multiple streams of 8K footage smoothly. To edit this footage natively without losing your mind to constant timeline stuttering and drop frames, you'll be forced to invest heavily in premium, high-speed NVMe solid-state drives capable of sustaining transfer speeds upwards of thousands of megabytes per second. Furthermore, processing 8K 10-bit video requires immense computing power, specifically from your computer's graphics processing unit and dedicated hardware decoding engines. Many mid-range laptops and older desktop computers lack the built-in silicon architecture required to decode 8K 422 media efficiently in real time. When you drop an 8K clip onto a timeline in DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, or Final Cut Pro, your system will likely choke. The timeline playhead will freeze. Rendering a simple color grade or transition will take hours, and your cooling fans will scream at maximum volume. To bypass this computational wall without purchasing a brand new, top-tier computer, you'll have to integrate a strict proxy workflow into your daily routine. This means every time you import footage, your computer will have to spend valuable time generating low-resolution proxy files for you to edit, and then relaying to the native 8K files during the final export. While this is a standard practice on high-end Hollywood sets, It adds a massive layer of time and friction to the quick turnaround workflow that compact APS-C shooters typically rely on. The hidden costs do not stop at your computer desk. They start inside the camera body itself with the physical media cards. The X-T5 relied entirely on dual SD card slots, allowing users to use relatively affordable, widely available UHS-2 SD cards. However, standard SD card technology has a physical speed limit. It simply cannot sustain the extreme, continuous data write speeds required to record high bitrate, internal 8K video, or rapid-fire 40-megapixel stacked RAW bursts without instantly bottlenecking the camera's internal buffer memory. While the official